See, initially I was gonna do these as two separate reviews, but like, man, I don't really want to talk. I mean, I got a lot to say about Camp Hell and a lot to say about The Exorcist. Well, some to say about The Exorcist, but like, whew, man, I'll just mesh them together and just like Franken review of a movie, two movies reviews at once. Two. Screw it, whatever. Anyway, this is, this is Moonlight Kingdom Reviews. I am your host, Man on the Moon, and I will be reviewing the horror movies Camp Hell and The Exorcist Believer. Yeah, that's right. One movie that's pretty good and another movie that should have been good but wasn't. And I'm going to lay out why right here on today's episode of Moonlight Kingdom Reviews. So, Moonlight Citizens, get ready to blast off in 3, 2, 1. So, a double feature of doom and gloom, covering Camp Hell and The Exorcist. Let's start with the bad news. Camp Hell. Woof, what a movie. I enjoyed it the first half because, like, that's, establishing who the characters are and, the world that the kind of world they live in and the camp and the rules of that. That was well done. Surprisingly so. And any movie with, any movie with Max Payne in it has got my vote. I mean, it's got to be good somehow. I mean, the voice of Max Payne's in this movie as a psychiatrist. And, well, he does his part really well. I mean, but anyway, he's not on here. So he's a major plus in the movie. Another plus in the movie is Will Denton. He's the protagonist of the film. You're like, who's Will Denton? He was the kidnapped kid he was Leopold Kane in the show Kidnapped. And it was a really good show. I like it's like one good season because like each season was supposed to be like a different person being kidnapped, and now the team would assemble to save that person. But like that overall show was like really good, and he shined in that role in the moments that he got with his kidnappers. But in this film, he also works really well as the protagonist, and the antagonist of the movie, the priest. I know him. I've seen him in movies. I don't know his name, but like him once you see him. He was Senator Kelly in X-Men 1 and 2. So like, yeah, he was good in those roles, and he was good in this role here as like the Old Testament style priest. He like, I mean, I can't really say spoiler alert because this movie's so freaking old, dude. What freaking spoilers? He's this like proper old school priest. No rock music, no shirking on your chores, church every Sunday, and no getting together before marriage. And he found out, like, there's a scene when he finds out that Will Denton's character has a girlfriend, and like they made out, and he says they made out. Really, they hooked up, but he just says they made out in the woods, and he straight up calls her, I don't know if this is monetization or a friendly word, but he basically calls her someone who sells their body for favors, essentially. He calls her a synonym for that name. I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible so I can get views or whatever. Well, yeah, I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible. So he calls her that, and as the first time he does it, they're together. Will Denton and the girl are together, and Will Denton's character doesn't say anything. And then she later gives him guff about it, like, hey, he called me this horrible thing. Why didn't you say anything? Like, why didn't you defend me? And he realizes, like, yeah, I should have. I really wanted to, but, like, I don't know. I just couldn't, like, he couldn't stand up to him the first time around because he still saw him as this, like, revered figure because its camp is like a Bible camp, and he's the main dude in charge of everything. Everyone listens to him. He's tells everybody what to do, their roles and everything, and he's the father figure. He's also the priest at their church or whatever. But like, he nails that role of this guy who seemingly wants what's best for everybody, or at least claims to want what's best for everybody, but really is working in the best interest of the church and the faith, honestly, or at least his interpretation of the faith, because yeah, that's how it is. Jessie Eissenberg is in this movie for a hot minute, which is bizarre because like his role amounts to a cameo, but you wouldn't guess that because of this movie's trailer. And not just the trailer, but the friggin' poster. There's a poster for this movie that's just his face above the camp. Like, and it's got his name at the top of the thing. It's like, it's total false advertising. I mean, yes, he's in the movie, but he's only in it for like 2 scenes, and that's it. He's not the movie's main character. But I mean, Will Denton is. There's like one poster where it's just Will Denton, and every other freaking poster it's Jesse Eisenberg. What the hell? I mean, he's not even a central character. He's a character, but he's not a central character to the story. You know how I say that? I mean, you could essentially, his role could just be dialogue. You could effectively delete his scenes from the movie and have characters fill in those blanks with dialogue and it would work. But they're promoting him like he's the freaking star. He's on like every poster bar one. Like, seriously, this movie. Oh, the false. Apparently, he even took the production to court over this, like false advertising using his image and like way he didn't agree with because he was only in the movie for like 2 scenes and they were promoting it like he was the main guy. He hated that. So like, yeah, there was that problem with the production. But yeah, his performance as the his performance in the movie was oof. I don't know, man. It was Jesse Eisenberg who used to do drugs or something, man. He looked like he was a guy who did drugs and is currently struggling in rehab more than he did a mental patient. But anyway, the premise is that these people are at Bible camp and like weird goings on are occurring. You know, demonic sigils, crosses turning upside down, statues moving, and like they're trying to find out if some kind of demonic entity is responsible. And the priest, is like, working to find out what's going on, not realizing he's also kind of feeding into this sort of thing. Like his actions are actively causing the people at camp to want to rebel against him in a way. Or I don't know. This movie's kind of a mess. The Spencer Treat Clark, I think his name is, or Treat Williams. No, that was Treat Williams. Spencer Treat Clark. He was the kid from Gladiator. He's in this movie too, and I don't know. Just this movie is weird. This movie is like a slow burning horror movie for like its first half, and then the weird goings on happen. But then when the third act that kicks in and things are starting to pick up, it just hard cuts to the end. When I say hard cuts to the end, I mean weird stuff starts happening, stuff that can't be explained outside of demonic influence. The father goes into a coma. Will Denton's character harms himself, and then the movie just smash cuts to Will Denton's character waking up in a hospital, and it's over. Like, it felt like their whole third act was missing. Like there was supposed to be some kind of climax with Will Denton's character and the demon and how he was able to like foresee bad things happening. That didn't come into play at all. Like, what bad thing happened aside from dude slipping into a coma? Like, what's going on? It just ends with him being like, if if this is really like, this other priest comes along and they try to make it like give him this little piece of, like those little bread things that are like, this is the body of Christ, and he's like, if that, he even tells mom like, if that's really like either this is all nonsense or like that really does represent the body of Christ, then like something really morbid is going on. It's like, I'll do whatever, but like don't, like I just don't want no part of this anymore. Like I don't want to be a part of this religion anymore. That's kind of what he says, which is confusing because I'm like, wait, what just happened? Did y'all delete the third act by mistake and just jump to the end? Because it's like the snowman. That movie was supposed to have a third act, but like they have an excuse because the snow came in and they couldn't film and they just had the hard cut to the ending and they couldn't film most of the third act. This movie doesn't seem to have any excuse. It just jumps from the part where things are ramping up and goes straight to the end. 5 out of 10, man. You know what? That's being gracious, dude. This movie, I did not enjoy this movie. I enjoyed the first part because it was, like I said, a slow burning horror movie. It's really good. But damn, if this movie's ending doesn't drag it down significantly, that's a solid 4 out of 10. Let's just say 4.5. Yeah, 4.5 out of 10 for this Camp Hell. I would not recommend, but like, hey man, if you're a fan of Will Denton, definitely check it out. If you're a fan of James McCaffrey, check it out. But like, it's definitely a movie you watch once and never want to see again. And now on to The Exorcist. Up next is The Exorcist. Believer. Do you believe in life after death? Do you believe? I hope you do, man, because it does play a huge factor in this one. This is the far better horror movie of the two back to back I'm covering here. Because this movie is actually good. Actually, this movie actually has an ending, alright? A solid one, too. Whew. So it basically follows this dude, or these two families. You know, their kids go missing, and they go missing for days. Like the dads are looking for them. The mom is convinced like something is going on. Kids wouldn't just up and vanish. And when the kids return, they're not their usual selves. They're back, but it's not really them. It's more like something else wearing their bodies. And they're like souls or somewhere else. They're possessed, basically. It's straight up the first exorcism movie in some places, to the point that it's this movie's more like a sequel to the first Exorcist, because it brings back characters from those movies. It brings back Reagan's mom. She's a character in the film helping out with to figure out what's going on and to maybe cure these girls. And there is a scene like in the third act of this movie where the girls are strapped down and they in this like big circle, and they're working in Christianity, and what seems like, no, it's not voodoo, but like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's like African solutions. Like, I don't know. There's like circles and sigils, and like, don't touch them and things like that. The girls are levitating, hawking up what appears to be blood. It's a wild finale. There were moments throughout this film that were like straight up genuine like scares. This film actually had genuine scares, not quite the level of the first Exorcist, where people were running out of the theater because they couldn't watch it anymore. But still, it had a lot of people jumping. There were like 4 different points in the movie where I actually jumped. I was like, oh, shoot. I can't believe that got me, man. Like, yeah, it was definitely a fun watch. I'm not going to spoil a lot because you should definitely go see this movie. I would absolutely recommend it. The acting was pretty good, especially from the girls. They looked horrible. I kid you not, when they get possessed. What is it with movies where people get possessed, your eyebrows just disappear? I get it, it makes you look less human and more demonic, but like, your eyebrows disappear, your hair recedes, your skin gets all messed up, and you carve words into your stomach. Haven't these demons ever heard of pen and paper? I'm just saying, what is up with these people? Have you never heard of a damn pen? Damn. I mean, you know what a freaking pen is. You use it later to perform eye surgery on a person, but you know what a damn pen is. But still, man, why are you carving stuff into people's flesh? What's wrong with you? Anyway, this hot. I mean, it's a rough watch, man. Like, I love how the movie at first you don't get the idea that something demonic is going on. I mean, you know what it is. Thing is, when you watch this movie, it's like you know what you're signing up for. This movie's called The Exorcist. You know what this is about. You know what kind of stuff you're into when you walk in here. When the girls first disappear, it's kind of like they've been kidnapped. It's more like the first half of the movie Prisoners than it is like a straight up supernatural spooky thing. It wasn't like they just vanished into thin air. There were like clues on where they could have gone and stuff, and people are looking, and when they finally found them, it's like they were miles and miles away. Like, you tell me they went all their way barefoot? Like, then I think a priest or someone explains that these children, where they were taken to hell, and that's why their feet were burned when they found them, because it's like they went all the hell, and when they walked on the place, like, their feet burned up. So yeah, that really fits. When the girls are all demonic, it definitely gave me Exorcist One vibes. So in terms of a sequel to the first Exorcist movie, with it wasn't quite as extravagant as stuff levitating, the room spinning, and all that. Like, there was levitating and there was spinning, but not to the insane degree of that first movie. So yeah, this movie knew when to pull back, and it knew when to go all in on some things. I definitely recommend it. The twists and turns in this movie, including a solid neck twist, are pretty good. there's a lot to love about this new Exorcist movie. A definite 8 out of 10. Would recommend. I absolutely enjoyed it. Like, go see it, man. It's cool. It's playing in your local cinema. I don't know, wherever you buy movies from. That is my review of The Exorcist. It's a pretty interesting back to back we got here, people. We got us a movie that's really not that great. That's a great idea, but it was terribly executed. And we got a movie that's not a great idea because it's a sequel to a classic, but you know, it goes like the full like Halloween route. And I'm just when I was watching it, I had like, oh, this is giving me Halloween vibes, and now I know why. It's as the credit. I was like watching the credits and like a blumhouse production, right? All right. It's like directed by David Gordon Green. David Gordon Green. Wait a minute. He directed those Halloween movies. Don't tell me. Don't tell me the writer is who the right and like the producer comes up like, damn, McBride. Damn, man. Freaking Danny McBride is in here, like writing shit. Like, he redeemed himself. This was a solid movie. I'll give him that. Not all of his movies are funny, but like the movies he writes, some of them are really good horrors, man. Don't sleep on comedy guys doing horror. Like, they'll surprise you. Anyway, like I just remember reading like the credits. It was ridiculous. It was like, oh, Blumhouse. Like, what? David Gordon Green. Executive. Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me. Brad. I went in with that. It's like, oh, this is gonna be whack, man. Because that last Halloween was whack, but I was wrong. Thoroughly surprised. An 8 out of 10 if ever I've seen one. So, to cap it all off, people, that is an 8 out of 10 for The Exorcist Believer and a 4 out of 10 for Camp Hell, for Will Denton's Camp Hell. Could have been better, but, it wasn't. If only someone would fix that. Guess I just might. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Moonlight Kingdom Reviews. I've been your host, Matt on the Moon. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.